This is the disc brake caliper that squeezes around the disc brake rotor. In order to move the caliper left and right, we loosen these two bolts. Now that the bolts are loose, the caliper is free to move around left and right. To align the caliper in left and right position, you can close the brake by pushing the lever like this, and then tighten the same two bolts. See, when you push the lever, only the left side is moving because it's a mechanical disc brake. We want the left and right side of the disc brake pads, which are these golden parts, to be as close to the rotor during the rotation as possible, not quite touching the rotor, which is the silver part is the rotor. You can spin the wheel and listen for sounds of the caliper rubbing against the brake pad. A little bit of sound is okay because a new cable will stretch out after using the brakes often, and that will cause the pads to go apart again. If you need to move your caliper up and down in this direction, you can loosen these two bolts. And the normal reason for doing that would be to try to get as much brake pad touching the rotor as possible, which means going down as low as possible, but without the rotor banging against the caliper. This mechanical disc brake system has an adjustment for the left disc brake pad and an adjustment for the right disc brake pad, which is this nut. If you turn this nut, it will adjust the right disc brake pad to move left or right, away or towards the rotor. And if you adjust this nut, it'll do the same for the left disc brake pad. And we'll do this to get the rotor as close to the pads as possible, but not quite touching them, in case you don't like the noise of the rotor rubbing against newly installed disc brake pads. Make sure that this nut is tightly holding the cable so that when you pull on the brake lever, the mechanism will close the disc brake pads. When we're adjusting the cable, we can close the lever up to the point that the bike is not yet braking, and then we pull the cable through, and then finally tighten this nut.